Austin is no stranger to controversial topics or conspiracy theories. Tonight's speech is no different. Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister for Adolf Hitler, is attributed to saying, if you tell a lie big enough, if you tell a big lie and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. Tonight, Austin will uncover one such big lie. Austin's speech tonight is called There's No Such Thing as a United States Citizen, and it's based on the article printed in front of you from his website. If you'd like a more detailed account of what he discusses tonight, as well as his sources, you are welcome to check it out. Let us encourage Austin tonight in his speech. Are you going to do it up here?
Yes, I will be.
Awesome. He's got a PowerPoint for us too. First time in this building. Let us welcome Austin tonight with There is No Such Thing as a United States Citizen.
Gideon came up to me when I got here, and he asked me the question. And it's a question probably I'll leave you are probably thinking, what do you mean there's no such thing as a U.S. citizen? I mean, what do you call someone who lives in the United States, right? Well, hopefully tonight I will demonstrate sufficiently that there is no such thing as a United States citizen. The United States of America started off as a constitutional republic, not a democracy. A lot of people don't make that. They think that the United States is a democracy. No, it started off as a constitutional republic. As you can see in the Declaration of Independence, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. United is not capitalized. This Declaration of Independence declared that these 13 sovereign states, united. United is just a descriptor. However, this was somewhat subtly changed in 1871 when Congress passed the District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871. This established Washington, D.C. as its own city-state, much like the Vatican or the City of London. It established the United States as a corporation, but much more importantly, yes, it established the United States as a corporation. As we see in 28 U.S. Code 3002, the United States is, quote, a federal corporation. In UCC 9-307, it says the United States is located in the District of Columbia. This means that the sovereign states of America, that united in 1776, and the corporation of the United States are two completely separate entities. Since its inception, however, the United States Corporation, which everyone thinks is the one founded in 1776, has been duping the people into its own system. There are several ways that this has been done. The one that we're focusing on tonight is the New Deal under President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. All those who are willing were given a Social Security number. What this does is creates what's known as a straw man, after the straw man from the Wizard of Oz, which has no brain. This straw man is a fictitious, artificial person / corporation. This is what the government does business through in your name. And it's very easily distinguished because it's your name in all capital letters. If you look at all of the legal stuff that you get, like credit card bills, or you get a ticket, it'll be your name in all capital letters. That is not you, that is your straw man. I am not a person or a citizen in any legal sense. I am a human being. My straw man is a person and a citizen. So what do those terms mean? Well, person, according to 26 U.S. Code 7701, defines person as shall be construed to mean and include an individual, trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation. Black's Law Dictionary says that there are two different types of persons. Natural person, it's a human being, and artificial person. which includes a collection or succession of natural persons forming a corporation. So here you see the tie between corporation and person. Furthermore, what is the definition of citizen? Again, Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition, says citizens are members of a political community who have established or submitted themselves to the dominion of a government. This is interesting all on its own because it means the United States as an entity separate from the United States of America. If you claim to be a citizen of the United States, you are claiming to be a member of this corporation and must submit to whatever rules and regulations it passes. That's interesting. But when you look at the definition from Black's Law, 4th edition, it says, a corporation is a citizen of a state under whose laws it is created, and under as of any other state. It is not a citizen within the meaning of the federal constitution, declaring citizens of each state entitled to privileges and immunities of citizens. This means that not only are the persons and citizens of the United States have to obey the rules and laws passed by the corporation, they themselves are corporations via ties to their strawman, and they are not entitled to the privileges and immunities granted in the Constitution, nor are they entitled to the right prohibiting the infringement of these rights. Well, then comes the question, what gives the government the power to create these corporations? For this, we have to turn to the 1873 slaughterhouse cases. Keep in mind, this is 2 years after the District of Columbia Act of 1871. The majority opinion was written by Supreme Court Justice Samuel Miller. And what this court case did was it ruled in favor of the Louisiana state-owned slaughterhouse corporation and upheld the constitutionality of the Louisiana's use of its policing power to regulate this industry. This case would change the course of the United States of America, and nobody knows about it. Concerning corporations, Supreme Court Justice Miller said that wherever a legislature has the right to accomplish a certain result, and that result is best done through the use of a corporation, it has the right to create such a corporation and to endow it with the powers necessary to effect a desired and lawful purpose. This means that any legislature of the government has the power to create any corporation it wishes and give it as much power as they wish. Last, we'll look at the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. This Constitution Amendment, of course, were the 13th and 15th Amendments, followed directly after the American Civil War. Before the Civil War, of course, the slaves were not considered citizens of the states that their owners resided in. Once they were freed, there came an issue how to legally define them and how to integrate these people into society. The North, of course, was opposed to slavery, and the South didn't want the slaves to have the same rights as state citizens. So a compromise was had. They created a federal citizen or U.S. citizen category. According to Justice Miller, once again, he said, the aim of this amendment was to establish a clear and comprehensive definition of citizenship, which should declare that what should constitute citizenship of the United States and also the citizenship of a state. This was the first time that there was a classification of United States citizen. Before this, you were a citizen of the state that you resided in, South Dakotan, Iowan, Texan, etc. Justice Miller further elaborated the first section of the 14th article, which opens with a definition of a citizenship, not only citizenship of the United States, but of the citizenship of the states. So hopefully I have demonstrated so far, there's a distinct difference between United States citizenship and state citizenship. That the United States is a corporation, and if you claim that you are a citizen of the United States, then you are claiming to be a member of this corporation. This corporation has created fictitious legal persons who must abide by their rules, and by signing under penalty of perjury on any relevant legal document that this person is you, you are claiming to be a citizen of the United States as well. However, what if I told you there is no such thing as a United States citizen? The very foundation that this class of citizenship is built upon is a complete farce. According to constitutional records, the 14th Amendment was never constitutionally ratified into the Bill of Rights. From June 13th, 1967, it says, "We have tolerantly permitted the habitual misuse of words to serve as a vehicle to abandon our foundations and principles. Thus, the present use and expansion of the 14th Amendment is a sham, serving as a crutch and hoodwink to participate a quasi-legal approach to the overthrow of the tender balances and legal protections of limitations found in the Constitution." Furthermore, it states, "The purported 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution is and should be held ineffective, invalid, null, void, and unconstitutional for the following reasons. Number one, the joint resolution proposing said amendment was not submitted to or adopted by a constitutional Congress. Two, the joint resolution was not submitted to the President for his approval. And third, the proposed 14th Amendment was rejected by more than 1/4 of all states then in the Union and was never ratified by 3/4 of all the states in the Union." So the question is then, how did it become part of the United States Constitution then? Well, these constitutional records provide an answer. The Reconstruction Acts of Congress, which came in the wake of the Civil War, unlawfully overthrew their existing governments, removing their lawfully constituted legislatures by military force, and replaced them with rump legislatures which carried out military orders and pretended to ratify the 14th Amendment. In spite of the fact that the Secretary of State in his first proclamation on June 20th, 1868, expressed doubts as to whether 3/4 of the states had ratified the 14th Amendment, Congress nevertheless adopted a resolution on July 28th, 1867, unlawfully declaring that 3/4 of the states had ratified the amendment. So what does this all mean? As was ruled in the slaughterhouse cases, the 14th Amendment created the United States citizen category. However, since the 14th Amendment was never constitutionally ratified, there is legally and constitutionally no such thing as a United States citizen. Since the United States citizen class does not exist, which is the very foundation for all of the legal structure in the corporate United States system, the three-letter agencies, laws, statutes, etc., the entirety of the corporate United States system has zero legal or constitutional foundation, therefore should not exist. So where do we go from here then? How do we break free from these contracts? I don't have all night. So I will point you to some of the sources here. Of course, the booklet you have in front of you will go in a lot more detail on a lot of the history and so forth. A couple of sources I'll point to are the Contract Killer course by Brendan Joe Williams. Absolutely fantastic course that goes into a lot of the history and actually how step by step how to break free of the system. And of course, my website as well. I have an article called the From Republic to Corporation, which I go into a lot more detail than in this booklet about more of the history behind this. In short, in closing, I am more than willing to discuss this with anybody. If I'm wrong about anything about this, please tell me. I would love to have discussion about this. My intent is not to tell you what to believe, but to present to you my research and to take us all thinking about it and start asking these questions. It is by shedding a light on these big lies that the truth will become evident. Thank you.